The Intra-Africa Trade Fair, or the IATF, has unveiled the 11 key components that will form the pillars of the Africa Trade Fair scheduled for Algeria in the first week of September. And speaking earlier today in Lagos at the Nigeria Business Roadshow, top officials of the African Export-Import Bank, the IATF, and the Nigeria Export Promotion Council led the discussions on how to harness Africa's regional value chains for global competitiveness. Let's listen.
Last year, 2024, Nigerian non-oil export grew in value by 20.77% year-on-year, over and above what we had in 2023. Non-oil export performance continued its upward trajectory in the first quarter of this year, 2025, where it grew by 24.7%. Last year, Nigeria exported 243 distinct agricultural products to 146 countries. I think we should clap for that. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in 2024, Nigerian exporters traded with 39 African countries, with agro products forming a significant share of that trade. This intra-African export was valued at $462 million. That's also another big volume. Can we clap for ourselves? And this provided millions of jobs across agro-processing, textiles, cosmetics, ICT-enabled services.
Today, Africa finds itself navigating all manner of crises, multiple crises, from the lingering effects of COVID-19 pandemic to climate shocks, food insecurity, energy insecurity, global supply chain disruptions, and mounting debt vulnerabilities. This already fractured and economic trade system is further battered by nationalistic, protectionistic tendencies, as well as wars. What we thought were emerging wars are now becoming actual wars and conflicts, including those of trade and tariffs. These overlapping crises have exposed the fragility of our dependence on external markets and supply routes. But they have also crystallized a powerful truth. Africa can no longer afford to look outward first. We must urgently turn inward, deepen our integration, and build resilient regional value chains that serve African needs with African solutions. Intra-African trade is no longer a developmental aspiration. It is an imperative for survival, for recovery, and long-term prosperity. We need an Africa-first mentality, not as a slogan, but as a deliberate strategic shift to prioritize African production, African capital, and African innovation. That is why today's theme is so apt: harnessing regional and continental value chains, accelerating Africa's industrialization and global competitiveness under the AFCFTA. It is also the reason that Afrexim Bank has made the successful implementation of the AFCFTA, the backbone of our strategy. We recognize that the trade cannot flourish where barriers exist, whether in the form of tariffs, logistic bottlenecks, regulatory fragmentation, or even lack of access to trade and market information. This is also why the bank is not only financing trade, but we are actively intervening to remove the obstacles that prevent it. We're gathered here to champion one of the most important tools for the implementation of the AFCFTA, the Intra-African Trade Fair 2025. Through IATFs, we are bridging critical markets and information gaps. We are connecting buyers and sellers. We are connecting investors to investment opportunities. We're connecting venture capitalists to ventures. We're creating a single continental marketplace where African businesses can discover each other, they can transact, and they can grow together. The Iatf has become a platform for solutions. It drives real trade flows, opening access to new markets, accelerating the practical implementation of the AfCFTA. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our data told us one truth. Africans were not trading with one another, not because of a lack of will, but because of lack of market intelligence, connectivity, and structured platforms. Historically, our trade patterns and trade routes were hardwired to the outward, to Europe for machinery, to Asia for textiles, to the Americas for food, and to actually, literally, everywhere in the world we imported from, whatever, wherever. And we ignored what we have at home.
In West Africa, Nigeria emerged as the region's largest intra-African trading country, as trade with the rest of Africa expanded to reach approximately $18.4 billion in 2024, up from just $8.1 billion in 2023. At the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment and its agency, NEPC, represented right there by the woman of the moment in charge of non-oil exports in Nigeria, we've been at the helm of driving the acceleration and diversification of Nigeria's non-oil exports. Just last month, in partnership with UNDP and Uganda Airlines, the FMITI launched Nigeria's first intra-African air cargo corridor, connecting Abuja and Lagos to 13 Eastern and Southern African economies, significantly lowering freight rates by up to 50% and enabling faster delivery of cosmetics, agro-processing, and fashion goods to Uganda, Kenya, South Africa, just in our maiden flight. In the same month, we also unveiled an AfCFTA market intelligence tool co-developed with UNDP, providing sector-specific trade insights across 13 African markets. This tool offers exporters data on tariffs, standards, packaging, regulations, shipping routes, buyer trends, and more in high-growth sectors like agribusiness, cosmetics, and textile. The Agro Corridor and Intelligence Tool together address the logistics and information gaps that have historically held intra-African trade at bay. This is especially relevant in services. According to UNDP's Africa service exports could double in the coming years, driven by digital trade, fintech, professional services, creative content, and e-commerce.
At Afreximbank, we are trying to change this narrative and also focus on replacing some of those products that can be produced here in Nigeria by the Manufacturers Association that can actually be traded throughout the continent.